It's a beautiful thing.
We in 6 countries. That's what I
Yes.
know. So that's the thing that stands out to me.
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. We love y'all.
Yes. Thank y'all for listening.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the channel. I'm Coach Deb, representing one half of the Healing Corner podcast. If you're interested in booking a consultation as well as service or a reading, go ahead and check me out at debshealingcornerstone.com.
I'm Coach Yams, owner of Healing is Work Coaching, and I help millennial professional women to live on purpose unapologetically and help them to stop doing shit out of obligation. If you need help with that, reach out to me, Coach Yams, YAMZ.com.
Welcome, everyone, to the Healing Corner podcast. I hope you guys are doing well. Today, we have a special guest with us, Ta-Tanisha, here with us. And our title, what we're going to be talking about is Travel Therapy, Expert Travel Advice for Wellness and Wonders. So we're going to go ahead and let our guest introduce herself and kind of explain what she does, and then we'll get started.
Well, thank you so much, Deb and Yams, for having me today. As you said, I am Ta-Tanisha Thomas, the creator of Exceptional Experiences for Officially Crowned Travel. We are a full-service boutique travel agency, and we help our clients travel royally anywhere in the world by land, air, or sea. I've owned the company since 2015. My specialty is group travel, but we also help romance travelers, groups, luxury, you name it. We really don't turn down any trips right now, as long as they're international. So, yeah, I'm a certified family travel advisor, a certified autism travel professional. I absolutely love helping people see the world.
All right. Thank you so much for the introduction. If you guys have not seen our last episode, you definitely want to check out the last episode because me and Yams went back and forth and kind of talked about our own personal travel experiences. So I had to plug that in here. But I do have my co-host, Coach Yams, on here. So I'm going to give her a chance to go ahead and talk and do her thing real quick.
Hello, friends. Thank y'all again for joining another episode of the Healing Corner podcast. I am Coach Yams, if you don't know me, and I'm helping millennial professional women live on purpose, unapologetically, and to stop doing shit out of obligation. If you want to know more about what I do, tap in Coach Yams, YAMZ.com.
Okay, well, let's get into it. So, the question I want to know is what is the most challenging this setup that you had to go through when it came to like getting somebody across to where they needed to go? Is it more like international travels that are more difficult, or is it domestic travels?
For me, I don't do a lot of domestic travel unless it is attached to a cruise sailing. So if I have a group that are leaving from any of the ports in the US, I'll make sure that I get them there. But for international travel, there can be a number of different challenges, whether that be from flight cancellations. You'll know about the cooties that we survived. That was such an absolute nightmare. Also, too, sometimes with entry, different countries will change entry requirements or visa requirements. And so being sure to stay up on all of that information and knowledge so I can pass that on to my clients so they don't have any barriers to entry when they travel. Um, if I would probably think one of the largest challenges I've had since I've owned the company, it would certainly be COVID. I had a number of different destination weddings that were set up that ultimately were canceled. And during that time, it was just nightmarish. Vendors were having time processing refunds, and so people's monies were tied up. And then it was all of the anxious energy around the fact that we're on shutdown. There's some type of cootie virus out here, and nobody really knows what all is taking place. And my job is to kind of also just let folks know that it's going to be all right. A lot of this is out of our control, but it will come together and it will be all right. And so, the best part, the silver lining in that story is, everyone got their refunds. It worked out in time, and you can see, based on how many folks are traveling right now, that travel is on a complete comeback. But that probably, since I've been doing this in the 9 years I've been in this business, COVID almost took us out of here because I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But but my love for travel triumphed, so I'm still in it.
And my question for you would be, when did you discover your love for travel? How did you get to a place where you're like, I'm going to help people figure out how to go explore the world?
Yeah, that's a great question, Yams. My first international trip I took from New York City to Bermuda at the age of 5 on my way to a cousin's wedding. And I loved everything about that. Packing my stuff up. My mom had all these activities that she put aside. I had every coloring book you can think of and all these nicks and necks for their flight. And then when we got there, Bermuda was amazing. I had never seen water that blue before. And I grew up in the Bronx, but not too far from Orchard Beach. So I've seen bodies of water, but never saw bodies of water that were that crystal blue. And the waves, I remember the waves hitting me and, kind of moving my little 5-year-old body to the side. But we were there for my cousin's wedding. And so I tell people all the time that my love of travel started with that trip. Um, because from that point forward, my mom, even though she was a single mom, she would try and figure out a way for me in the summers to either go to camp or go down south or go to Disney World. So it was always a part of my childhood. And then as I got older with corporate America, um, the assignments, my work assignments, whether it be an executive assistant capacity or even at Meharry Medical College, helping them with their travel program there. Um, I enjoyed the putting together of the itineraries, as well as hearing all of the stories from people when they returned and learning more about their experiences. I guess it kind of allows me to see the world from someone else's eyes, because I haven't been everywhere yet. But certainly there are destinations that I want to go. But I can send you anywhere. So if you're going to Greece and Athens and you experience all of what that has to offer, the Acropolis and all those things, and I'm hearing that from you, it just, I don't know, it just brings me joy to give people these different experiences around the world.
So my question is, I know you said you were young when you really started to, fall in love with travel. How old do you think you were when you realized it actually was healthy for you to travel, or it was actually good for your well-being to be able to travel?
So definitely that was well before I started selling travel. Probably in my early 20s, I had a business where I would sell, like, and I say knockoff bags, but like the Louis Vuittons and the Coach bags and those types of things. And at the time, I was living in Michigan, and I would hop in my car and drive to New York City to go get my products and bring them back. And I found myself doing that. Often. And even if I wasn't going to grab products, I wanted to get in my car and take this road trip or get out of, the city that I was in. And it was because it would give me a chance, to experience other things. And to me, it was a great way to use my time. And it was not very expensive because I was hopping in a car, so it was my gas and then that was it. And my cousin, I'm born and raised in New York City. So my cousin was living there, and so I wouldn't have any hotel expenses. It would just be a whole party. I just go down there and have a great time, go to Times Square, do all the touristy things that I didn't do when I was living there. So that's probably when I realized, this for me too. At that time I was a single mom, And so my daughter would go with her dad in the summers, and it was that little piece of time that I took for myself that let me know that this is good. And I think it's the process of setting it up and completing that thing. It's that you have a task before you, you accomplish it, and so you have that little bit of "ooh, I did that" feeling after each trip.
I love that. And then I'm curious, what has been a trip for you that has been the most recharging or the most healing for you? And what did you take away from that trip?
So probably, well, I'm for about 3 years ago. About 3 years ago, I planned a trip for myself to go to Jamaica and to have an experience for my birthday. And I set up that entire trip. My girlfriend joined me there, but I also took out some time to do a photo shoot while I was there. And she didn't join me on that photo shoot, but it was during a time where I was facing some health challenges. I knew in the months after I was going to have two major surgeries, and I just wanted to do something different to celebrate myself. And so that trip in particular, I took time out to just have my own time, I guess, even though she was with me, there was a little bit more of a solo travel type feel for the photo shoot. So them picking me up from my hotel room, taking me to have my makeup done, which was maybe the second time in my life that I've had my makeup done by another professional. And then putting on this beautiful gown and posing and seeing all of these beautiful images of myself in a way that I had not seen myself before. And so it was so therapeutic that, I came back and started a new business. But when I look back at that, I really needed that, not just because I took that time out, but because of those larger things that I knew were coming up, I needed to celebrate myself and my life in a different way for that birthday. And so that trip to Jamaica allowed that to happen. Plus, I don't know if either of you have been to Jamaica yet. It is just a beautiful destination, and they have excellent cuisine. And so, yes, all of those things just made that trip very special for me.
So I'm interested to know because I know we're in the BBL era where a lot of people traveling, get that. But how many
Mhm.
times would you say, or is it typical for you to have someone call and they want to go and they need to travel for a surgery or something like that? How often does it happen?
So for me in particular, I have not to my knowledge, helped anyone travel to do a travel surgery, but I have seen footage of people either going to get their teeth done or, liposuction and those types of things. I've seen benefits from it. Like, we've saved so much money and this outcome turned out so well. But I've also, seen some downfalls from that in people transitioning after they go and have these types of procedures abroad. There's one comedian I can think of in particular, and I know, his significant other lost her life to. I think she was here though. I don't even think she went anywhere to have that surgery. So. Um, I haven't helped anyone that I know of. They don't tell me, "Oh, well, I'm going to go and do this." But normally, it is more leisure trips that I'm responsible for, or corporate getaways if I'm sending large groups of travelers to maybe a conference or an event.
Okay. So then I am curious because it sounds like you say you specialize in groups. What is the largest group of people you have sent on vacation? And I want you to get into like what a agent, a travel advisor does, because I know that there's a lot of misconception around people using services to book travel because they think, oh, I'm going to have to spend an arm and a leg on the front end, or they just don't really understand how the work that you do ties into the trip that they want to go on.
Hmm.
So, biggest trip. And how do you do your services so that people understand how the services work?
Absolutely. So the biggest trip we took was in 2019. We had 125 folks join us on the Carnival Horizon. It was brand new, recently launched at that time, and so there were a number of different groups. I had a church group. I had a couple that was getting married, and I just had girlfriends that wanted to hang out and take a cruise with me show up. So it was family, it was church, it was the wedding, and there were a ton of us. And so that probably is one of the ones that stand out. I hear from those people that joined us on that cruise all the time, like, when is the next one? When is the next one? So we had a really good time. And plus, I think because the ship was newer and had so much to offer at that time, folks really enjoyed themselves. So I want to say we were anywhere from, I think our youngest was maybe 6, maybe the oldest was like 83, if I'm trying to recall off the top of my head. So usually with group travel, there's multi-generational. There's just a number of age spans. And so part of my role as a travel advisor is to really dig in and listen to what people want to experience. I do my best to try to identify a destination as well as the resort or the cruise based on what I hear them say they would like to do. As I do, PTO is very rare. And if you're spending it, you want it to be worth it. And so what I am able to do is bring value to your trip. And when I say that, our services, we offer mostly exclusive benefits and amenities that you would not be able to purchase or find online because of the consortiums that we are involved with. And so a lot of people may not be aware that in the price of their package, they're already paying for a travel advisor. If you're purchasing a trip online from Expedia, whoever that vendor is, there's already a travel advisor's dollars bundled in the cost of that trip, whether or not you utilize our services. And so for me, it is being able to listen, hear what you would like to experience, do my best to match you to that experience within the budget that you've outlined. But it's not just your trip and booking the trip, it's also making sure that you have the tours, activities, restaurant, or spa reservations attached to that. Um, as well as your transportation to and from. So, when you get on to the airport from your departing destination, you won't have to worry about anything else until you return home. We even send some of our clients to the airport without any luggage. We have a service called Luggage Free, so they can ship their luggage into destination before they even depart. So we don't have to worry about lost luggage. Because I'm a certified family travel advisor, we offer a service called Baby Quip, where they can go ahead and rent all of the items that they would need for their child in whatever destination they're going to, so they don't have to carry that gear with them. We also encourage our clients to insure their trips. So we also provide different vendors that can help them achieve travel protection because the cost of some packages really makes sense to ensure that in the event anything happens and you're no longer able to take that trip, that you're covered and can recoup the money that you've spent. So my job as a travel advisor, while we do book components, flights, hotels, cruises, that thing, is really to listen to you and give you an exceptional experience. And that's at least what we do at Officially Crown Travel. I can't speak for the other agencies, but certainly that's what you would get when you book with us.
Okay, it's funny that you said that because I actually had a flashback of when me and it was my sister, my brother-in-law, and a friend. We went to the Bahamas, and my sister and my brother-in-law, their luggage got lost. And since we're on getting on the cruise ship, it took 2 days for them to be able to get their clothes. I mean, we still had fun and we still had a good experience, but that was like kind of like the little downer when it came to
Yeah.
the trip. But what I wanted to ask you was, do you feel that you grow connections with these places, like the spas and the different places that you connect your clients with?
Absolutely. Our vendor partners and suppliers, we have a relationship with them. And that's another thing that travelers benefit from when they use a travel advisor. It is those relationships that allow me to go back. God forbid, should anything go awry during your trip, to say, hey, my client didn't have a great experience. That's not the experience we expected them to have. And so, how can we make sure that we make this right? And unfortunately, things happen. And so, to be able to have that relationship, to advocate on my travelers' behalf, I'm the one who's on the phone and on hold. It's not something that you're spending your time doing. And so all of those things really add up to just save you time, save you money if I can, especially with our amenities. We have a service like private car and driver, depending on which cruise you take. So at the port, when you get off, you'll be met with a private driver, and he'll take you to experience whatever you would like and bring you back to the port. And so if you are familiar with cruising, you understand how valuable that could be, especially in certain destinations. A lot of the time, also, we're able to get early access. What does that mean? That means that the museum might open at 10 o'clock, but you were able to get in there at 9 before everybody else. And so it's just a little magic, a little zhush we put on our trips. Other, different amenities as we can, depending on which package you've purchased.
And then I am curious because, we're in 2024 right now, and the economy is doing a thing, but also like people are still getting out into the world and traveling because travel doesn't stop just because the world is crazy.
That's true.
What are some of the places coming up that are like now hotspots, or next year hotspots, that people should have on their list of places to check out because maybe like the food is incredible or the bang for the buck is, unheard of? Where should people be trying to travel to based on what you know?
So I can tell you, Yams, Europe has been hot, and I mean all of all of Europe, to the point where they are pricing out really, really high. I've been booking a lot of Italy, a ton of Greece. Um, but as far as destinations you should keep your eye out for, to consider for future travel, I'd say the Caribbean is always number one. It's close to home, not really far. There's so many different parts of the Caribbean that you can get to enjoy just cultural immersion. I'm thinking of Aruba is one of the first islands that pop into my mind. Aruba's outside of the hurricane zone for the most part, so it's great to visit any time of the year, but it has its pockets like San Antonio, which has a really large cultural base that people can go and get immersed in. Other areas like Portugal. Portugal is really popular right now. A lot of people are looking to travel there, not just for food, but the wine experiences. And I think as well, the cost, when you think of different places that you can visit in Europe, makes it a really attractive destination. And then you have pockets of Asia that people are running to as well. So whether that be Bali or Thailand, I see a lot of requests come through to visit those destinations. And it's the same thing. It's because you receive so much more for your dollar in those areas. And so I think when people are looking to travel, they definitely want to be able to have more value in whatever destination that they experience. And so I often look to those areas where the US dollar is really strong, and you'd be able to maximize your visit there. So even Mexico, it would be on that list. And for me, I loved Cabo. I tell people all the time that God showed off on Cabo. So that's still another area where that exchange rate is in your favor. And so you just are able to do a little bit more there.
And then my follow-up question would be, what words of encouragement and advice would you have for anyone who maybe has not considered international travel because they're concerned about the language barrier? What would you say to somebody who doesn't want to travel because maybe they don't speak the language?
I don't speak any other language than English, but Google Translate is my best friend. And there are a lot of times English guides that are available depending on where you're going. But English is a very common language, so I wouldn't fret. There's usually someone in the vicinity. A lot of the hotels and properties keep an English speaking staff member at the front desk. That English speaking person may not be the person who's coming to clean your room, but certainly if you pick up and call the front desk, you'll be able to speak to, someone who can help or resolve any issues that you have. And then if you've hired a travel advisor, you can always reach out to your travel advisor, and they can help you maneuver to make sure that you have what you need once you get into destination. So go ahead and get your global entry, get your TSA, get your known traveler's number, and get out there and go see the world. Go get some new passport stamps. Don't let anything hold you back. No fear.
So I'm interested to know, do you have any testimonials of like favorite clients or people that stuck out to you, and also like kind of, you don't have to say exactly what they said, but did any of them have anything to say in regards to they felt better, or they felt like it was a refreshing moment that they were able to experience?
I think it's wild that that's how this podcast opportunity even surfaced. I do have not favorite clients, but clients that are very near and dear to my heart. And so I have been working with a family now, probably for mm, maybe 7 years. Father, wife, two children, and one of my really, they would take a trip every year that I would help them with. And then he transitioned. He got COVID and transitioned, but I still provide travel services for his wife. And her first trip without him was to Cabo. And I made it a point to go to Cabo because I wanted to make sure. I mean, I had this trip lined up anyway, but where the destination and resort where I was sending her, I made it a point to get there, visit, put my eyes on that property, because I wanted them to handle her with care. And she went with a girlfriend, and when she came back, she said God was there. And so I think that that alone was enough for me. But knowing that it would be her first trip without him, I just wanted to make sure that I provided the best itinerary and experience options for her to have while she was there. And so her coming back with that remark was just what I needed. And she had such a good experience on that trip that she has also a nonprofit organization that we recently gifted a trip to Nashville to a recent widow who had lost her husband to cancer. And so her experience not only helped her in that moment of time, but it helped her decide to pay that forward in her own way. And so those are transformative things that occur in that healing space, I guess you would say, that are necessary, needed, and then finds its way to spread that goodness to others.
I think that's a beautiful testimonial, because you're able to actually experience, go out and do that, and then be able to know for a fact where you're sending someone. So that is amazing, because a lot of times we don't know exactly if the advisor we're talking to, if they actually have experienced it themselves, or if they're just going off the experience of someone else. So that
Yeah.
was great.
You definitely want to have a travel advisor who travels. That's not to say, we all have different levels of experience, and I haven't been everywhere yet. Um, but certainly I'm among colleagues who have. And so, as much as I'm able to lean on them and their network and their experiences, they allow me to. We also have DMCs, destination companies within certain destinations that allow us to ensure that the experience we're sending our clients on are the very best, top of the line. Just, but for her in particular, and because they were such great clients to me for all those years, being able to recommend to her El Farallon for her seaside dinner so she could watch the sunset right there by the water with her girlfriend. There were certain aspects of her itinerary that I just had to put white gloves on because, you know, I care for her family, and because they had cared for me as much as they have throughout the time I've had my company. So that was very important to me.
Okay, well, we're getting close to the end. Yams,
Oh
did you have
no.
anything else that anything that you wanted to input?
The only thing that I'll add is that I have learned, even though I know Ta-Tanisha, I've learned what travel advisors can provide. And I didn't realize so many services could be tied into that. And so that does add a layer of personality and personalness to it because, having somebody that's gone before you and has experienced the thing or has the community to connect you to the things that are the picture that you've painted for yourself to be able to enjoy the experience that you desire. I think that's really, really incredible. Like, I thought that you were dope before, but the level of care that goes into the itinerary and all of the things behind the scenes, just it makes it worth it to just use a person to help you put a thing together instead of trying to do a thing on your own. So I just wanted to say that. And then also, because I know you, I wanted you to talk about this business that was inspired and birthed from the
Yes.
travel, because it all comes together, and just tell the people, and then also tell people how they can find you, how they can connect with you, how they can utilize your services and support your businesses.
I am so grateful for this opportunity. I also want to remind all of your listeners not ever to let price be a barrier. We offer Uplift, which is a financing option. So if you have a trip that you want to take and you just don't have the coins to rub together right now, we can take care of that too. As well as the fact that a lot of our vendors allow a very low deposit and allow you to pay out over time. So if you plan early, that dream trip can be yours. Um, I am also the proud owner and founder of Nashville Flying Dress Photography Experience. And so I have the awesome opportunity to dress women up in these glamorous gowns and take photos of them all over the city of Nashville. It's a great way to showcase our city differently than, riding down Broadway and pedaling down the way. We have a license for all of our city parks, but I love what I do in that space. It's very celebratory, but I provide the dress and photographer. Our fly girls just show up and strike a pose. So we try to make it as simple as we can for them. We have 18, 19 different color dresses, and we also offer girls sizes. All of the dresses are themed after the city of Nashville. So you have Music City Magenta, Red Ryman, a Buchanan Blue. I tried to keep it themed and happy and special, but I really love that space that I'm in with Nashville Flying Dress. So you can find me online at officiallycrowntravel.com. We're Officially Crown Travel on all social media handles, as well as NashvilleFlyingDress.com. And we are Nashville Flying Dress on all social media handles. If you see it anywhere else, don't worry, they're imposters, but the true, you can find the true Nashville Flying Dress right at NashvilleFlyingDress.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and being able to share this amazing ability that you have, I would call it, because it takes somebody, it takes a special person to be able to put in the right energy to help somebody to have that wellness experience. So we definitely appreciate you sharing with us. Make sure that y'all check out the description box because we will have information regarding how to contact her, as well as if you would like to contact me or Coach Yams. But we're going to go ahead and end it here. Again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Hit the post notification bell as well. But until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.